Welcome to the express flow for ankles and feet. So to get started, go ahead and find a seat. Either bring out your yoga mat or just find some space in the middle of your floor. And we're starting off with ankle rolls. So nice and simple. Think about keeping your heel down on the floor and then drawing a big circle with your toes. So trying to reach to the outer limits every direction. And do maybe 3 or 4 of these going this direction. And then go ahead and switch sides. And I'll say here that any of these movements, go ahead and feel free to do these for however long you'd like. So it might be a little bit quicker in the video for time's sake, but if you ever want to pause and stay in a position or pose or movement longer, absolutely feel free to do so. And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch feet or switch ankles. Again, making a big circle with your toes. And then other direction. Again, trying to get at least 3 or 4 complete circles in both directions for both ankles. And once you're done on both sides, you can come back to your original foot and working with the toes a little bit. So first, what I'd like you to do is think about drawing your big toe towards you and all other 4 toes down. So it's kind of like big toe up, other 4 toes down. Hopefully you can see my foot as we do this. And then think about doing it the opposite way, which is really hard for me. So big toe down, other 4 toes up. I really can't even do it when I'm talking, so hopefully you'll have a little more luck than I do. There we go. And do a couple of those on each foot. And this might be really hard. Actually controlling your toes can be weirdly difficult. So if you're having issues, know you're not alone, as I am, again, struggling to do this while talking. And once you've played around with that on both sides, make your way into tabletop. So this is quadruped position, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. And once you're feeling stable here, go ahead and swing your right foot out to the side and point your toes away from you. Then sitting up with your torso, bring your right ankle in so that it's like inside of your knee. You want to keep your heel down, so if your heel is starting to float up, you can move your foot out a little bit away from you. And then from here, just moving laterally and pressing into your bent knee. And again, only going as far as you can keep your heel down. So what this is doing is we're working into the ankle flexibility here. So if you squat, if you lift, if you ride horses, this type of flexibility is really critical to have. This is basically where your ankle is in the bottom of the squat, when you're in stirrups, etc. So just gently rocking in to the ankle. And again, heel stays on the ground. And once you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. So left foot comes out, toes pointing away from you. Bring your foot closer to your body as long as you can keep your heel down. And then gently rocking into this side. Also, things to consider, keeping your knee directly in line with your toes. Your knee may pass your toes and that's fine, good even. But you want to make sure it's staying in line, so you don't want it to be falling back or to the inside. So this keeps your bones aligned and is much better on your joints. ahead and make your way back to tabletop. And this time, offering a challenge here. You can do this with tucked toes, so that your toe pads are down, or making it a little more difficult, keeping your, untucking your toes so that your toenails are down. And wherever you are, thinking about shifting your weight forward into your hands, and then lifting your hips up. So if you're doing this with toenails down, it's going to provide a front ankle stretch and toe stretch. If you're doing this with tucked toes, you're just going to get into your toes just a little bit different. And again, always shifting weight forward so that most of your weight is in your hands rather than crashing on your toes. So if that feels good, go ahead and do a couple reps. If it's just not happening, no worries. Make your way back to your hands, coming and walk your feet up, and then standing up. So, next, moving through the ankle and toes a little bit more here. What I'd like you to do is start with your heel down and toes lifted up towards the sky. And then from here, think about bringing your foot all the way down, so balls of your foot, toes down, and then bring heel up and coming up to the tippy toes, so your weight is in your standing leg, not on your, the one we're working on. And then if it feels okay, going ahead and curling, like rolling right over your toes. And then coming all the way back to heel down, toes up, and just going through this wave a few times. Really being intentional with what you're doing and feeling how this stretches into the ankle and the toes. And go ahead and switch to the other side. So again, starting with all of your weight in your standing foot. It goes up towards the sky. Whole foot comes down. Heel comes up, making your way to your tippy toes, and then rolling over the toes. So do this a couple of times on this side. Nice and gentle. And then once you're done with this next rep, go ahead, shake it out if you need to. And moving on to a split squat. So for these, think about bringing one foot in front of the other, a little bit of space in between your feet. You can have them as narrow as directly in front of each other, so you're walking on a tightrope, or you can stagger your stance a little bit. So you can have them directly or off to the side a little bit. And as you do these squats, you'll find a good comfort spot. And then from here, we're simply lowering down as far as we can. Maybe even being able to bring that knee down. What I want you to see, I should turn around for this, is that as you lower down, this heel, your front heel should stay on the floor. So if you're coming up into it like this, you're coming down a little too far, shift your weight back or stay up a little bit to keep that heel down. And just see how this goes. It's hard to keep your heel down at the end. This is working into that same range of motion we were working in before with the ankle. And then after you've done maybe 5 of those, switching sides, and again, play around with the stance a little bit. Back heel comes up, but front heel stays down. I can't quite get my knee to the ground on this side without giving up my heel. So again, work within where your range of motion is and where your body is for this. And once you've done about 5 on this side, last thing we're going to do is drinking bird. So this is a balanced version of chair, but I have it in here because you're standing on your tiptoes, so extending and keeping your ankles steady when you're in this type of balancing pose takes a lot of control. So even by being in here for a couple breaths, trying to stabilize your ankle as your body is stabilizing on top of it is hard, and we'll start to work up ankle strain. So to start, we'll come into chair. For a chair, you can have your feet right next to each other, or you can bring your feet about hip-width distance apart. Wherever you are, just make sure your knees, again, track over your toes, and they're not falling to the outside or caving in. So I like to do my feet together. You choose what works for you. Hands come to heart center, and then sink your butt back like you're sitting in a chair. So all of your weight should be towards your heels, hands at heart center, and think about tucking your tailbone and reaching your tailbone towards the ground. Shoulders are back, ribs are in, and then from here, hands come behind you and weight shifts forward into the balls of your feet and your toes, and then lifting your heels up as far as you can. Think about keeping your torso strong, so shoulder blades coming together, hands reaching back, and holding this for a few breaths, maybe up to 10 breaths. And then coming back down, shifting weight back, and coming back into chair. So play around with that a little bit, maybe do a few reps of drinking bird, shifting forward, and then coming back through chair. And the more you do this kind of thing, the stronger and steadier you'll feel. So that is the express flow for ankles and feet. This is based off my functional flow classes. So if this is something that you like, check out functional flow. Right now they are Monday nights, and I would love to see you there on the mat. So if you have any questions, want any more information on anything, please feel free to hit me up. My contact info and social media are in the description here. And I look forward to seeing you later. Have a good one.